Updated November 7, 2017 202,747. One of the biggest questions about U.S. President Donald Trump's foreign policy in Asia is simply, what is his policy in Asia? North Korea, sure. Trade, well, that's a broad topic. What about the big picture policy vision, following predecessor Barack Obama's pivot to Asia? Those questions still largely remain, but here are a few things we learned from the Japan section of Mr. Trump's trip. Friends with benefits. Mr. Trump is obsessed with being friends with world leaders, and telling us about it. He mentions it over and over. Our relationship is extraordinary. There has never been such a close relation between two countries. These two countries, Mr. Trump said about his Japanese counterpart and occasional golfing buddy, which may have made Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe feel special, unless you read this description of Mr. Trump's relationship with China's leader Xi Jinping. People say we have the best relationship of any president, because HES called president also, Mr. Trump said last month. Being friends is no doubt a good start to global diplomacy, but there's more to a true friendship than repeatedly saying you like someone. Leaders pile on massive pressure. The new strategic policy on North Korea now appears to have a tagline: maximum pressure. Both Mr. Trump and Mr. Abe use the term. This is in distinct contrast to the Obama administration's policy of strategic patience, which Mr. Trump called weak and ineffective. So the president's strategy, and this strategy is in complete alignment with our allies, South Korea and Japan, and, increasingly, the entire world, is to maximize pressure, a senior administration official said in an on-the-record briefing to media on November 5. It is a diplomatic and economic campaign to maximize pressure on North Korea, to show, really to convince the leadership in North Korea that the one way out for them is to start reducing the threat and to move toward denuclearization. Japan's leader also dropped the phrase into his comments about Pyongyang. We must raise pressure to the maximum to create a situation in which North Korea comes to us and begs us to have a dialogue, Mr. Abe said. Of course, China is the country that can calibrate the pressure on North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, and it will be interesting to see what language Beijing uses when Mr. Trump visits later this week. Indo-Pacific, not Asia-Pacific. The Trump administration is deliberately changing the way it describes the region we're in. We talk about an Indo-Pacific in part because that phrase captures the importance of India's rise, a senior administration official said during a briefing. It captures the importance of the maritime free commons that allow our security and our prosperity to continue. And this is a region that includes China, it includes Japan, the Korean Peninsula, Northeast Asia. It includes Oceania, with our close partner, New Zealand and Pacific Islands, and our long-standing ally, Australia, in the south. India to the west, the United States the east. Let's be clear, India was always part of Asia-Pacific, but the US now wants it in the title. Mr. Trump, however, used the term to imply some kind of policy blueprint for regional trade and security. And in partnership with the United States, the sovereign nations of the Indo-Pacific will work together to achieve a future of security, prosperity and peace, Mr. Trump said. We will have more trade than anybody ever thought of under TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, that I can tell you. TPP was not the right idea. At the risk of stating the obvious, relabeling the MAP isn't the same thing as a multilateral trade deal. The Obama-era pivot to Asia is clearly long gone, but it's still unclear what will replace it. Jokes and pokes to world leaders, two gags, two very different results. Mr. Abe is not known as a funny guy, but he dropped some gentle humor into his speech at a press conference on Monday. Speaking about playing golf with Mr. Trump, who is a good golfer, although perhaps not as good as he claims, and Hideki Matsuyama ranked 4th in the world, Mr. Abe said that while they didn't keep score, he thought it was neck and neck. His wry half-smile made the line work even better. By contrast, Mr. Trump appeared to go off script with a compliment that immediately lurched into a sneering insult. The Japanese people are thriving, your cities are vibrant, and you've built one of the world's most powerful economies, Mr. Trump said. Turning to Mr. Abe's podium, he continued, I don't know if it's as good as ours, I think not. Okay, and we're going to try to keep it that way, but you'll be second. It made Mr. Trump appear like a bully, and Mr. Abe had no choice but to smile through it. It was not the intended ending to the buddy movie that the US president had been pitching hard for his 2 days in Japan. Topics: Donald Trump, world politics, unrest, conflict and war, Japan, United States, Asia. First posted November 7, 2017 054740.